gentlemen, welcome to Ariel Helwani's MMA Show!
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Ultimate Fighting Championship. Happy birthday to you. Back in your life on this Monday, November 12th, 2018. Yes, 25 years ago today, UFC 1, McNichols Sports Arena, Denver, Colorado. It went down. Today, the UFC is 25 years old. How about that? And how lucky are we to be doing this show on a Monday, 25 years after UFC 1? This is an honor. This is a special day, my friends. We have a lot to discuss. There is a lot going on in the world of MMA. On top of it being the UFC's 25th birthday, the UFC, I don't know if you heard, but they held their 25th anniversary event on Saturday in Denver, not the McNichols Sports Arena. It was the Pepsi Center. But the Pepsi Center is the new McNichols Sports Arena because the McNichols Sports Arena no longer exists. It's now a parking lot, I think, outside the Denver Broncos Stadium. And, you know, it wasn't the greatest card of all time on paper. But holy smokes, my friends. Holy smokes. We may have seen the greatest finish in UFC history in the main event in the final second of the UFC's 25th anniversary show. Yair Rodriguez with the elbow out of nowhere. The backwards, upward elbow, I mean, I've never seen anything like it. Knocks out Korean Zombie. He was on his way to losing that fight. Two judges had him down 3-1. One had it 2-2, but it didn't matter because he was going to lose. And then 10 seconds left, they do the whole, like, let's do it. Boom, Zombie comes in, knocks him out. It's the most insane finish in the history of the sport, maybe the greatest knockout ever. Unbelievable way to end the UFC's 25th anniversary show. Donald Cerrone also makes history. I mean, you couldn't script this stuff. Most wins, 21. Most finishes, 15. He submits Mike Perry. So much happened on that show that was just perfect for the UFC's 25th anniversary show. There wasn't a title on the line. It wasn't a pay-per-view, but it just almost felt right for that particular show on that particular night. So happy birthday to the UFC. We're going to start this show off the only way we should, in a matter of moments, with the man who won it all 25 years ago today. But first, let me run down today's lineup, and then we'll get to our first guest of the day. I am fired up. It's a big day. It's an exciting time. 25 years ago today, the sport was born essentially here in North America, and we all owe the UFC and those people who started it, and those who continued it, and those who kept it going and made it into what it is today. We all owe them a debt of gratitude. All of us who earn a living in this sport, one way or the other, we owe them a debt of gratitude. And also as fans, it's just great to be a part of it. So 3:55, 4 o'clock, we'll be joined by Yair Rodriguez, who is coming off that insane knockout, maybe the greatest finish in UFC history. He's all beat up. He's all banged up, but he is going to join us at the end of the show to talk about that win over the Korean Zombie. Unbelievable. And who would have thought, a few months ago he gets released. Now look, that's why you keep Yair Rodriguez on your roster. That's why you don't rush him in to a fight against Zabit Magomedsharipov. You let the guy build himself back up. Yoel Romero will stop by at 3:40. TJ Dillashaw will stop by at 3:25. Talk about that super fight, if you will, against Henry Cejudo. Why is he going down? Why is it happening? All that and more. Marlon Moraes at 3:05. Shorty Torres at 2:45. Jermaine Durandamy at 2:25. Israel Martinez, wrestling coach for Yair, who is all happy, smiles, fist pumping in the air, at 2:05. Henry Cejudo at 1:45. And Macy Barber, the 20-year-old who made her UFC debut on Saturday, will join us at 1:25. She wasn't even born 25 years ago when UFC 1 happened in Denver, Colorado. That's kind of mind-blowing. But as I said at the top, there was only one way that we could properly start today's show. He wasn't in attendance on Saturday, so then I thought to myself, we have to start with one man and one man only. The man who won UFC 1 25 years ago today, the godfather of mixed martial arts here in North America. Without him, if he doesn't win that event, there's a very good chance there is no UFC 2. A living legend, a Hall of Famer, a man who is often imitated but never duplicated. The one and only Royce Gracie joins us right now via the magic of Skype from Israel, from the Holy Land. Royce, how are you?
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. You're in Israel right now, right?
Yes, I'm here for my son's fighting next Thursday
That's right, Conry Gracie.
for Bellator.
Yes, absolutely. And we're going to talk about that in a second. I see you proudly representing Bellator, but obviously wanted to have you on the show to start things off today because it was 25 years ago today. UFC 1 happened. You won that entire tournament. Now, I have to ask, it's around 1 o'clock Eastern time, 11 a.m. Mountain time. Do you remember around this time 25 years ago? The show's about to start in 6-7 hours. I know I'm asking for a lot here, but what were you doing the morning of UFC 1? Do you remember what you were doing?
I was hanging out with my family. Lunchtime right now, lunchtime?
Yeah.
Yes, we're eating lunch. I remember eating lunch with Rickson and Sérgio Zivater, a student of ours back in Brazil, from Brazil. And they told me, hey, tonight, we are not going to get in the cage with you. We can't get in there. We're going to sit outside and we're going to mentally trip the opponent. But it's going to be all you.
Were you nervous?
No, I wasn't nervous. I trust. They told me Horion always taught me that, my father and Rickson, Royler, they always like, hey, just trust. They're going to come in to hit you, get in a clinch.
There was a thought that obviously this was the opportunity for the Gracie family to show that jiu-jitsu was the dominant martial art. Did you not feel sort of the pressure of trying to represent your family on this stage against other martial artists? Like, you're the one who was picked. You're the guy. You have to go out there and actually prove what your ancestors, what your dad, what your brother has been saying for so long, that Brazilian jiu-jitsu is number one. You didn't feel that pressure?
I didn't feel the pressure because I trust the technique.
Did you realize from the first match that this was going to go your way, that you were just better than all these guys?
No, I didn't think that way.
No.
It was one match at a time.
Okay.
It was one fight at a time. I didn't think, okay, I got this. No, I never was that, okay, I'm confident. But I wasn't overconfident that, hey, it's a piece of cake. No, it's a fight. They always told me, if you take a hit, it's going to hurt. You're going to go down. These guys are hitting with no gloves. There's no time limit, so take your time.
You fought 3 times that night. Art Jimerson, Ken Shamrock, of course, in the final against Gerard Gordeau. Of those 3 fights, which is your favorite?
Oh, man, all 3. Art Jimerson, because it was a first time for everybody.
Right.
So it wasn't just for him, for me too. That was my first professional fight. Ken Shamrock, because his physique, it was very impressive. He was probably the favorite to win the whole tournament. And the finals with Gerard Gordeau, after what he did to the opponents, the guy showed up, stone cold face, just ready to go, broken hand, broken foot, looks like. I remember I stared him down, and I saw his hand was swollen, the foot was swollen. So I know that he was there to hurt me.
Did you have any injuries going into the final?
No.
Nothing?
No injuries.
And you
Nothing.
left after the Gordeau fight, no injuries, right?
No injuries.
That's unbelievable. That may be the craziest thing of all. What were you doing in between the matches? Do you remember what you were doing backstage?
There was not much time. It was go backstage, just cool off, relax for a bit, just bring it down.
Okay.
You see, so you don't stay hype up the whole time and get tired. So it was like, okay, relax, just sit down, lay down on the floor, just relax.
Were your family members back there with you as well, or did they leave you alone in between the matches?
Oh, no, they're all back there. They all go back there and just, I just pretty much let them do whatever.
Right.
like Royler who come up is like, hey, time to stretch. I was like, okay, go ahead, stretch me. And I just let him do it.
How many family members do you think you had there?
Man, Horion, Helson, Hickson, Royler. I think Holker was there. My father, my mother was there. There was a couple cousins. So there was quite a few.
When was the last time that you watched any of the fights from that night? Do you recall?
I was just showing my son about a week ago, 10 days ago. I was showing my son the fights from that night.
Wow.
So again, because I was telling him, dude, sometimes you got to get in a, don't just try to exchange with the guys. But when they want to fight, you want to fight. So when they come forward, go forward. You're going to crash. You're going to get in a clinch. So don't try to step away and try to play the game of boxing. And once they come, you accept.
So what led you to show him that just a couple of days ago, 10 or so days ago? That I'm assuming that's not the first time you showed him those fights, right?
No, he's seen it before.
Yeah.
It was just to as a reminder.
Okay.
Like I just told him today, hey, on your fight, I'm not going to be coaching much. There's not much I can coach you over there, but I'm going to remind you of things. I'm going to remind you, chin down, hands up, move. You see, I'm going to just give you keywords like this.
We in the media and we as fans, we like to celebrate these anniversaries. Today being the 25th, the UFC had their 25th anniversary show on Saturday. But for you, like, do you get nostalgic on a day like today? Do you think back, or is it just another day for you and it's almost like us who reminds you? Would you even remember if no one brought it up to you?
I will remember. I have a very good memory. You just asked me what I was doing on that day,
That's
25
true.
years
That's
ago.
true.
I can remind, and I told you I can tell you what I was eating probably.
Wow. What were you eating? Do you remember?
Pasta.
What kind of pasta?
It's okay. On the day of the fight, we try to eat very plain, simple food.
Right.
It's not heavy, not a lot, but everything's got to be very kind of plain, like plain pasta with some olive oil. That's it.
Okay.
No, we try to avoid heavy meat and stuff that will be heavy to digest. Or let's say sushi on the day of the fight, or chicken, that you get a raw chicken, you can get sick from it.
Right.
So
do you
try to eat as plain as possible. That's the most boring food we eat.
Do you get do you get emotional when you think about that? Like, how do you process it? How do you feel about it? 25 years later, considering what you did.
I know what I did. I don't let it get to my head. So to me, it's just another day. Got up this morning, went for a run. The kid went to train this morning, so I watched him hit some pads this morning. This afternoon, we just finished training right now. So, yep, it's just another day to me. But I know what I did.
Yeah.
You guys remind me.
Yeah. I'd imagine.
But I remember the day too.
I'd imagine there's not a day that goes by that someone doesn't bring that up to you, right? That doesn't want to talk to you about UFC 1. Do you get bored of it?
I don't mind. I love it. I love it. If not, what am I going to talk about? Right. Traveling the world?
Yeah.
That's the other thing I do a lot, travel the world. So we either talk about fighting or travel.
It means a lot that you would be on the show today, especially first. I feel, and I know you had obligations. You were at the 20th anniversary show. I remember they brought you out with George St. Pierre for the workout. Do you see me? Do you hear me? Royce, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to know, it feels weird that you weren't honored at the 25th anniversary show. I know that you couldn't be there, and I know you work for Bellator now, but does that bother you that you have this relationship now with the UFC where it feels like you're a little bit of a forgotten man?
No, it doesn't bother me. I don't think I'm forgotten. You see, I just couldn't be there because I'm over here in Israel helping my son for his fight. So But I don't take as a forgotten.
Okay. How is your relationship with the UFC these days?
To me, it's fine.
Okay.
I'm an ambassador
Hmm.
for MMA, for the world. That's one of the reasons why my father was against me carrying the Brazilian flag. I don't represent Brazil only. I represent the world.
That makes sense. I like the way you put it that way. And your son Conry, who's fighting this Thursday in Tel Aviv, how old is he?
21.
21. So he was not born yet when UFC 1 happened. Did you have any kids at the time?
Nope, no kids.
Do you remember the first time you showed him your fights at UFC 1? Do you remember the first time, the circumstances?
I tried to keep them away from knowing who I was. To them, for a long time, I was just that.
Yeah.
So people will come over, it's like, hey, can I take a picture with you? They'll look at me like, why do you want to picture with you, Dad? I was like, I have no idea, kids. Maybe because I'm good looking.
When did they figure it out?
When did you figure it out? He's right here next to me. When did you figure it out, Contra? About 14, 13, 14. That's about the age that they kind of like, hold on, what did you do again? Really, that you're not that good looking. Come on. So why they want your picture? So that's when they kind of, about 13, 14.
How do you feel about him fighting now, following in your footsteps, trying to be a pro MMA fighter?
He's not following my footsteps. He's following the Gracie family footsteps. So, yeah, I never forced him, never asked him to fight. He's the one that came up to me and, hey, I want to do this. I want to fight. First, I was like, yeah, not yet. You're still not ready. You're still too raw. And he insisted. I was like, okay, he wants to do this. So let's get ready.
Okay. Did you feel like it was inevitable that he would go down this path, like the family's path, because so many of you had done it, or was there a time where he wasn't all that interested in this?
It's not like I predict. Okay, I didn't plan on that. It was more, if it happens, happens. If it doesn't, hey, I'll be behind him. For a long time, he wanted to play soccer. He was a very good soccer player. But then suddenly one day, he just like, you know what? I'm done with soccer. I want to train. I want to fight. I was like, all right, let's do this.
Can I say hello to him? Is he right there next to you? This is amazing. What a treat this is. How are you, my friend?
Good. Hi. How are you?
And it's great to meet you. This is really special on the 25th anniversary of UFC 1 to have Royce's son there. And am I pronouncing your name correct? Is it Conry?
Yes, Conry.
Conry. Wow, this is unbelievable. Do you realize what your dad did 25 years ago? Do you recognize how great this man is?
Now I do, of course.
How long did it take for you to actually figure that out?
Like my father said, about 13, give or take, a few years,
And
around that age.
Have you watched all of his fights?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I have to.
I'm curious. I'll ask you the same question that I asked him. Do you feel especially that you're fighting around the 25th anniversary of the UFC, and you have that famous last name, and you're his son, and he did, what he did 25 years ago. Do you feel that pressure going into this fight, that you're the next generation, you have to carry on that legacy?
No, because that's what he did. That was his legacy. Now it's time for me to make mine.
Okay. Wow. And how many of your family members will be there on Thursday? I know it's a little far away from California, but are a lot coming?
I think it's going to be just me, and I heard that Helms is coming.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it'll be Helms tonight.
Wow. And I know your debut didn't go your way. What's the biggest lesson that you learned from that fight?
Oh. I think that, after the fight, my team and I went over a couple of things. I just think that the biggest thing was just knowing what was going to come. Now I know what this relatively what is inside of a stadium looks like, but when you walk out of the runway, when onto the runway, I know kind of what the crowd's going to be like, what the ring is going to be like, what the lights will be like, the whole preparation now for it. I just think that I got a sense now of what kind of scale Bellator is on, looking at it from a fighter's perspective. So, that was kind of the biggest thing I guess I would take away from that last fight.
Royce, you have seen. Go ahead.
He broke my rib, man, about 10 days ago.
Wow.
Kicked me on the chest, man.
Oh.
My rib.
Wow. How do you feel now?
Yeah. We were having a fight 3 weeks ago. He pushed me hard, so I forgot that he was my son, and we took it out.
Wow.
I totally forgot. I was like, okay, back in the day, we're back to 1993.
But you're done fighting, though, right, Royce? Professionally, you're done, right?
I'm trying to.
Okay.
I'm trying to be done.
What does that mean?
Are you trying to fight me?
No, I want nothing to do with you. No, no, I'm good. I'm good, my friend. Could I ask?
But then,
go ahead.
But that was about 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago, yeah.
But then about 2 weeks ago, man, we were going at it again. In the third round, his side kicked me on the rib, dropped me. It was over. It was like, okay, never got dropped professionally.
Wow.
And then the little guy over here, man.
Oh, we might be losing you guys here. We were doing so good with the connection all the way in Israel over there. Tel Aviv, to be exact. Did we lose them? This is so much fun. Talking to Royce Gracie, his son, Conry, who's fighting this weekend. Can we reconnect quickly with them? Bellator 209 this weekend in Tel Aviv. Menorah, Miftachim Arena, Patricio Pitbull against Emmanuel Sanchez for the featherweight title on the main card. Ryan Couture against Chaim Gozali. Also Phil Davis on the card. Cindy Dandwa. Conry Gracie fighting on the preliminary card. And now they're back. Royce, can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're back.
Okay. I just wanted to ask.
I have a bad.
No, it's been great. And just a couple of minutes left with you guys, and this has been really special for us. Thank you so much for coming on. You've seen, Royce, your family fight for generations and generations, but what is it like as a father to see your son fight? What are those feelings like? Are they different than seeing your family members?
I can't separate. And I try and I can. And I've been doing this. I've already thought about it, what my father went through. And he was able to separate from father, son to, okay, he's a student. He's my fighter, not my son. So
do you find that it's different for you, that it's a little more nerve-wracking because it's your son in there as opposed to a brother or a cousin or an uncle?
Same thing with a brother or cousin. I kind of separate that.
Yeah.
You see, if it was a student of mine, it would be the same feeling because I care about the person. I don't look as my cousin, my brother, my son. I look as somebody that I care.
What's your favorite memory of that night 25 years ago in Denver? Is there one moment that sticks out, maybe not even in a fight, backstage with your family? If I ask you what's your favorite moment from that night, is there anything in particular that comes to mind?
The favorite moment on that night was after all the fights, back at the hotel, okay? I come out and there was nothing to eat at the hotel. So I went to a store next door to the hotel. So it was starting to snow. And I came back in. What did I buy? I bought some apple juice and some crackers. There was not much to eat.
Wow.
So I bought some apple juice and some crackers so I can eat that night. Okay? I'm walking back in the hotel. The apple juice and the crackers are inside my jacket. So I'm walking in. Looks like I'm sweating because it was just starting to snow. And Kevin Rosier and his manager were out there. They had a glass of alcohol and a cigar on the other hand. And they walk in, they're like, what are you doing? I flat out just walked by them and I didn't even flinch. I wasn't tired, so I went for a run. And I walk in the elevator. I see Kevin Rozier's manager look at Kevin Rozier, and goes, the manager look at him and goes, dude, no wonder he's the champion. Look at the guy who fought 3 fights tonight and went for a run because he wasn't tired. Don't look at you. And he was having a cigar and alcohol in his hands. Like, and I walk in, I saw, as soon as the elevator closed, I started laughing. I was by myself. I was like, yeah, that was awesome.
That's incredible. Brilliant. If I would have told you that night, Royce, 25 years later, the sport would be what it is today with all these events all over the world, as big as it is today, would you have believed me?
Yes.
Really?
Because wasn't something new for us. We've seen this happen in Brazil. My father's been doing this. And I remember asking my father as a kid, hey, father, people come over and say hi to him and want to take pictures with him, and asking him, hey, do you know these people? He's like, I have no idea, son. But you just talk to the guy like the guy is your biggest fan. He's like, I have no idea why he's my fan. He'll act like it's no big deal. That's why I did what I did. Same thing.
Wow.
But we've seen this happen. We knew how big it was in Brazil. So, but what happens in Brazil at the time, people did not know. So when he came to America, Rory already explained to me, like, man, once you hit America, the world will find out.
It's a beautiful thing, and it's so great to see that.
And now today we're in Israel.
Yeah.
Get ready for a fight.
Incredible. It's incredible how far the sport has come. Still seeing you and Renzo and all your family members a part of the sport. I hope that your family will forever be a part of the sport, and it's a beautiful thing to see your son now fighting professionally as well for Bellator. You're doing great work as an ambassador for Bellator. I'm very happy to see that they're using you and having you come out to all the events. This has been a real treat for us, Royce. Thank you so much. Conry, thank you very much to you as well. Good luck to you on Thursday in Tel Aviv. And Royce, on behalf of everyone, thank you. Thank you for doing what you did on November 12th, 1993. Thank you to your family as well, because if it wasn't for you guys, none of us would be here covering the sport and being fans of the sport.
I think it was our pleasure. We used to fight for free in Brazil. Now we get paid. What a life.
It is a great life. Absolutely. Happy birthday to all of you involved, and good luck this Thursday. Looking forward to the fight.
Thank you.
All right, there he is. Wow, what a great treat that was. Royce Gracie and his son, Conry Gracie, fighting this Thursday. I got chills. Amazing. I could talk to Royce about that night for hours, but that is special stuff, and you see how it all comes full circle. It's a beautiful thing. November 12th, 1993, UFC 1, McNichols Sports Arena. I did a 20th anniversary show, I think it was, where we talked to, who did we talk to? We talked to Bob Meyerowitz, and we talked to Royce Gracie, and we talked to a bunch of people. We had like 8 or 9 guests. I think Campbell McLaren was on the show. Art Davey was on the show. A lot of the major figures involved. But for this one, I just wanted to have Royce on. 25 years later, the man who won it all, UFC 1. And if you have not heard the 30 for 30 podcast, which is taped in this very studio on UFC 1, do yourself a favor and check that out, because it's a phenomenal listen. It's to me the best look back at that very special night in Denver 25 years ago today. I highly recommend it. Thank you very much to Royce for stopping by. Thank you very much to Conry as well.